Tonight I'm inside the Ecuadorian embassy talking to Julian Assange, who's been cooped up here for almost 6 months. While he's been here, though, he hasn't been sitting idle. He's written a new book called Cypherpunks: Freedom and the Future of the Internet. It's actually based on one of the shows that he made for RT. Now, Julian, you're saying basically in your book that the internet can enslave us, but the internet's just a thing, right? It's a soulless a piece of equipment. Who are the real enslavers?
They're the people who control the interception of the internet and to some degree also physically control the big data warehouses and the international fibre optic lines. So we all think of the internet as some kind of platonic realm where we can throw our ideas and communications and web pages and books, and they exist somewhere out there. Actually, they exist on web servers in New York or Nairobi or in Beijing, and the information comes to us through satellite connections or through fibre optic cables. So whoever physically controls this controls the realm of our ideas and communications. And whoever is able to sit on those communications channels can intercept entire nations, and that's the new game in town as far as state spying is concerned, intercepting entire nations, not individuals.
And this sounds like a kind of futuristic scenario, but you're saying that the future's already here.
Yeah, I mean, the United States National Security Agency has been doing this for some 30, 20 years, but now it's spread to even mid-sized nations. Even Gaddafi's Libya was employing the Eagle system, which is produced by a French company, Amicis, pushed there in 2009, advertised in its internal documentation as nationwide interception system. So what's happened over the last 10 years is ever decreasing costs of intercepting each individual, now to the degree where it's cheaper to intercept every individual than it is to pick particular people to spy upon.
And what's the alternative, the sort of utopian alternative that you would put forward?
So the utopian alternative is to try and gain independence for the internet, for it to sort of declare independence versus the rest of the world. And that's really quite important, because if you think about what is human civilization that makes it quintessentially human and civilized, it is our shared knowledge about how the world works, how we deal with each other, how we deal with the environment, which institutions are corrupt, which ones are good, what are the least dumb ways of doing things. And that intellectual knowledge is something we're all putting onto the internet. And so if we can try and decouple that from the brute nature of states and their cronies, then I think we really have hope for a global civilization. If, on the other hand, the mere security guards, the people who control the guns, are able to take control of our intellectual life, take control of all the ways in which we communicate to each other, then of course you can see how dreadful the outcome will be. Because it won't just happen to one nation, it will happen to every nation at once. It is happening to every nation at once as far as spying is concerned, because now every nation is merging its society with internet infrastructure.
And in what way are we, as sort of naive internet users, if you like, and I exclude you from that obviously, but kind of willingly collaborating with these collectors of personal data? We all have a Facebook account, we all have telephones which can be tracked.
All the time, everyone, nearly everything they do on the internet is permanently recorded. Every web search. Do you know what you were thinking 1 year, 2 days, 3 months ago? Now, you don't know, but Google knows. It remembers. The National Security Agency, who intercepts the request if it flowed over the US border, it knows. So by just communicating to our friends, by emailing each other, by updating Facebook profiles, we are informing on our friends. And friends don't inform on friends. The Stasi had a 10% penetration of East German society, with up to 1 in 10 people being informers at some time in their life. Now, in countries that have the highest internet penetration, like Iceland, more than 80% of people are on Facebook informing about their friends. That information doesn't go nowhere. It's not kept in Iceland. It's sent back into the United States, where it's accessible by US intelligence, where it is accessed by US intelligence, and where it is given out to any friends or cronies of US intelligence. Hundreds of national security letters every day. publicly declared, being issued by the United States government.
So do we risk kind of entering a scenario where there are almost two castes of people, a safe minority who are very savvy about the workings of the internet and the things that you describe, and just people who, you know, go online for kicks, really?
Well, we have this position where, as we know, knowledge is power, and there's a mass transfer as a result of literally billions of interceptions per day going from everyone, the average person, into the data vaults of state spying agencies for the big countries and their cronies, the corporations that help build them that infrastructure. Those groups were already powerful. That's why they were able to build this infrastructure to intercept on everyone. So they're growing more powerful and concentrating the power in the hands of smaller and smaller groups of people at once, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's extremely dangerous once there is any sort of corruption occurring in the power, because absolute power corrupts, you know, and when it becomes corrupt, it can affect a lot of people very quickly. Bill Binney, National Security Agency whistleblower, who was the research head of the National Security Agency's Signals and Intelligence Division, describes this as turnkey totalitarianism, that all the infrastructure has been built for absolute totalitarianism. It's just a matter of turning the key. And actually the key has already been turned a little bit, and it is now affecting people who are targeted for US drone strikes, organizations like WikiLeaks, national security reporters who are having their sources investigated, is already partly turned. And you know, the question is, will it go all the way?
But has it been built really by corporations and kind of unwittingly subscribed to by people, so in order to advertise products to make money, or has it been built deliberately by governments for the sole purpose of surveillance?
It's both. I mean, the surveillance infrastructure, the bulk surveillance infrastructure, there are hundreds of companies involved in that business. They have secret international conferences, they have prospectuses that they give to the intelligence agencies that we have obtained and published this year, together with Privacy International and the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. Also, the Wall Street Journal has done some good work on this. They're building devices that they advertise to intercept entire nations, to install the data from those intercepts permanently, strategic interception, because it's cheaper. So it's a combined corporate government amalgam. That's one of the problems. One of the reasons it's so unaccountable is it crosses boundaries. These companies don't just sell to their home country. They sell to companies overseas, that the shareholdings are held in BVI, and the company might be British registered like BAE, but actually a lot of research and development is done in Sweden, etc. And then you also have Google and Facebook, who started out predominantly serving the public, but also have developed side projects to service the US intelligence complex. And individuals are constantly pushing their thoughts into Google as each thing that they want to research is pushed, their emails, and in Facebook, their social relationships. It's an undreamt of spy database. Facebook is completely undreamt of from even the worst spying nation, the richness and sophistication of relationships expressed.
And willingly contributed to.
Well, no, but not with informed consent. People don't actually know. When on Facebook it says share this to your friends, that's what it says. It doesn't say share this to state agencies. It doesn't say share this to friends and cronies of state agencies.
We're very close to, just past the second anniversary of Cablegate, and that since then, that this war on whistleblowers and this state surveillance has seemed to have got worse. Do you think that something as large as Cablegate could ever happen again, and that it would have a similar impact?
Yes, hopefully next year.
Right. What sort of time next year?
Well, I wouldn't go into it, but hopefully earlier rather than later.
I mean, do you feel that when WikiLeaks is making these releases, you're having as large an impact as you had before? Well,
Cablegate is extraordinary, and we published this over a period of 12 months. It is the most significant leak, although our previous leak on the Iraq War was also 400,000 documents showing 100 over 100,000 people being killed and precisely how, that was also very significant. But yes, no one has done anything as significant as that since. But yeah, hopefully that will continue.
You've obviously written this book while you've been here in the embassy, but is it affecting your ability to work, this being cooped up constantly?
It's affecting my ability to meet with our people in different countries and to proselytize and things like this. But we should keep it in perspective. There are others who I have been in prison also in the past 2 years, and I know that is a much more serious condition than the one that I'm in. I'm fortunately able to give interviews and so on. So at least I have a voice. Prisoners rarely even have a voice. And why is that? Well, it's because the prison system doesn't want to permit them to complain about their conditions.
And what are you going to do, Julian? You said that you won't leave the Ecuadorian embassy until the US drops any charges that any investigation against you. Are you just going to stay here forever?
Well, I hope that there is enough political pressure and that the US government sees that it is destroying any goodwill that remains towards it as a result of its persecution and investigation of WikiLeaks and its associates. I think it really does have to drop the investigation. And over the past 6 months in particular, you can see the sort of the arrow of history, and the US DOJ and Eric Holder are going to end up on the wrong side of history. I don't know that they want that on their record.
And you've released a statement. I think there have been reports in the media that over the last day or so that you've got a lung condition, but you've released a statement saying that that's actually not the case at all. But has this shown you what would potentially happen if you did have a health scare? Do you think that you would be able to get treatment?
Well, my particular personal condition is not very interesting. Obviously, this circumstance in the embassy is difficult. And over a longer term, I suppose, could be very difficult. But I've had worse problems.